Beiruthi from FS Securities. We are an education and information firm on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. And every morning I go through what happened overnight and try to forecast what we are likely to see on our market today and also tonight on the global market. We cover stocks, shares, CFDs, foreign exchange and commodities. We'd like to see what is hot and what is not, what you should hold and what you should fold. And by the way, if you have any particular feedback, we would love to hear from you. Okay, and overnight from around the globe, we start with the Dow Jones. We've seen it was up 0.6%, 158 points. By the way, when the market opened yesterday in America, the Dow was down 700 points and managed to recover all those losses and finish with a small profit. We'll show you the chart later on and see how yesterday's movement was affected by what happened the last 4 or 5 weeks. Okay, the S&P 500 was up 0.8% and the Nasdaq was up 1.4%. In Europe, the Stoxx 50 index, which comprises most major European markets, was down 0.5%. The FTSE was down 0.7%. The DAX was down 0.3%. And in Japan, the Nikkei index was down 3.5%. China, Shanghai index was down 1.2%. And look, on our market yesterday, we had a disaster. 2 days in a row. On Friday, we lost 187 points, 3%. And yesterday, we lost 2.2%. So that's really over 5% in 2 trading days. Gold was trading at 1,727, down from what we've seen yesterday morning. And silver was $17.40, down from what we've seen yesterday morning. Brent oil was up nearly 3% to $39.83 US per barrel. And West Texas crude oil up 2.4% to $37.12. And for those people who watch soybeans, because that's what's happening between China and the US, it was actually down 0.4%, 876 US per bushel. The Australian dollar versus the US, 69.1, or let's call that 69.2, higher than yesterday, and that's yesterday morning. Will give you 61.909 euro cents and 54.84 British pence and 106 New Zealand. And for those people who watch Bitcoin, Bitcoin in America was trading at 9,440 US, up 120 US overnight, and that converts to approximately 13,600 Australian dollars, down $30. I know you can see why is it 120 US down 30. Well, of course, there are a lot of action in terms of the foreign exchange. Looking at the chart, what we see here is that you see that green candle, that's the weekly. Of course, only 1 day trading. And when you look at the daily, you can see that we've had a very big day on Thursday night, Friday morning. Then on Monday morning, we've seen the market there. Sorry, that was Thursday, and then Friday, and that's Monday US time. But we still, and I mentioned yesterday morning in my presentation, in this type of presentation, that we are likely to see the Dow hovering between the 200-day moving average, that black line, and the 100-day moving average. If we see the candle the next couple of days falling below the 100-day moving average, that could be a bearish signal, but we don't expect that to happen in the next day or two. We're likely to see the market continue to hover between the 200 and the 100-day moving average. Looking at our ASX 200, we've got 2 very big drop days, but anyway, we've seen huge rise in the market and we've lost some of it. Now we see here that the market is hovering around the 50% retracement from the high that we've seen several months ago, and the bottom of the market that we've seen a few weeks ago. We managed to retrace back to the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement, down to 25, up again, hover around that line. We flirted with the 50% retracement, up and then down, and we're still below it. So the market today is expected to go higher, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that it was still hovering around the 50% retracement. If it continues to go above it, we are heading toward the 61.8 retracement. If it goes above the 61.8 retracement, all the way up to the 7200 that we've seen several months ago. On the daily charts, if you look at the signals, the stochastic is very bearish. We've seen two dots above the candles that happen to be the parabolic stop and reverse, bearish. We've seen the market hitting the upper band of the Bollinger Band and then retrace back. And now we see the market closing below the 21-day moving average. But that I expect that to actually hit it above it today and maybe drop again in the next couple of days. So the market is volatile and there are too many signals coming up and down. But over the long term, we expect the 50% retracement to be the driving point. Below it and stays below it for several weeks, we're going down all the way to 25%. Now in terms of volume, here we've got 4 days of declines exceeding advances, and the volume was up on Friday. Yesterday we've seen major movement in the market on the downside, and by the way that was in the afternoon or early in the afternoon, and we see that the volume was 3.6 billion transaction versus 4.6 the day before. This is very bearish. This is the market saying, well, maybe we've sold enough, maybe we should really wait and see when we can come back into the market and buy. In terms of week on week, obviously this week we've seen major 46%. It's only too early to have an opinion about the weekly, but the previous weeks you can see we had more advances than declines 3 weeks in a row. Our mechanical system that we have designed over 20 years, from where we can actually look at different strategies for different people. You've got the investor, the conservative trader, aggressive trader, and very aggressive trader. And here we look at 2 time frames. For the investor, we look at the monthly chart and the weekly chart, and we look at 5 indicators out of 8 on the monthly. And if the signal is given to the weekly charts, we still have that particular signal for a month. However, the weekly chart can change every week. And from there we can see that the Dow is bearish for the very aggressive trader, even though we've had a good day yesterday on the market. The Nasdaq still holding on to its ground, with the exception of the conservative trader. The S&P 500 bearish, and the fear gauge, the VIX, which is actually the volatility index, which is translated as the fear gauge, turned from very quiet, bearish, no risk, no aggro, no fear. Well, here we're starting to see the fear appearing on our market. Gold, on Saturday morning we were bullish, and this is Monday morning and Tuesday morning we're still very bullish on gold. Silver, on the other hand, on Saturday morning we said bearish and bullish. We continue to say with the same transactions for all the type of traders and investors. We haven't changed yet. Natural gas, we haven't changed. The Australian dollar, we started the week bearish, and then now this morning we turned neutral. So maybe there is a movement on the upside coming. However, we see that the 70 US cents could be a very strong resistance on the market. And Euro hasn't changed from Saturday. Japanese yen hasn't changed. The British pound turned a bit more bullish. We started the week with neutral across all investors and traders, and now we're moving bullish on the British pound. So weakness in the dollar and strength in the euro and the British pound. Okay, on our market, this is actually yesterday morning and this is this morning. The only change is that we've seen Suncorp, for the very aggressive trader, turning bearish, and so is QBE and Telstra. We were neutral on Telstra. If you are an aggressive trader, very aggressive trader, we've got some signals for you for Telstra and for Transurban, for Suncorp and QBE. TPM, which is TPG, it's interesting that Telstra is going bearish, however TPG is going very bullish. We started the week with bullish except with the conservative trader, and now we've got bullish across all type of traders and investors. Okay, in terms of last night we've seen that at the end of the market, Boral had the best performance, 1.7% higher, and finished at $3.54. Afterpay continues to zoom up, $52.70. It hit about $54 from $16. It was $16 early in the year. You traded Afterpay when we told you to, and we did trade it for our clients. We made some money, but unfortunately we still we're out of the market now. We closed and we took the profit. IAG, which is the old NRMA, slightly up. And by the way, this slide will be on our website in a few minutes time. Okay, every day we look at volume for stocks that have exceeded their moving averages. For instance, this is actually the weekly. I'm going to go straight to the daily. I've shown you this yesterday morning. But yesterday we see here there was nothing extraordinary in volume for any stocks on the top 50. Yes, we've seen some rise in some stocks, but however, we look for volume first. In here, for instance, if you look at this company, Infigen, it had, my apologies, this is the one I wanted to look at. This is yesterday night. Jupiter Mines, for the bearish, there was nothing for the top 50 bullish or bearish. There was nothing bullish for the mid cap, but for the mid cap bearish, this company Jupiter Mines dropped nearly 6%. And look at the volume. The average 50-day moving average, so if you look at 50 days and you look at the volume over 50 days and work out their moving average, you have 3.9 million transactions per day. Well, yesterday we've seen 14 million transactions and the price was down 5.6%. New Century Resources dropped 14% in the price. And look at the volume. Okay, you've got all these companies. You may want to have a look at them sometimes. We will try to always find one of those gems, either bearish or bullish, provided we can trade them on CFDs because it's leverage on the CMC market. If you're trading IG markets, well, you might see some of the stocks that maybe we cannot see on CMC. Okay, well, that's all from us here. Before I go, the disclaimer, everything we said here is for general advice only. We don't know your financial circumstances, so we don't know what risk appetite you've got. So please be careful and consult your professional advisor, as I mentioned. If you have any question you would like to ask us, well, of course, you can write to me at George@FS Securities. FS stands for full service. George@FS Securities, plural.com.au. If you ring my mobile from overseas, it's 61, the country code, you don't need the 0, 61 411 259526. If you're ringing from Australia, 0411 259526. I am available 7 days a week, almost 10 to 12 hours a day. So have a happy day, happy trading, and I hope you make some money.